use the unlock code Eden to get a discount on your tickets. This is to avoid all them crazy fees. But I found out if you are in Atlanta, you can go to the venue and you can avoid all the ticket fees by just buying a ticket in person. So see you soon, December 28th. We are bringing in the new year together at What's the Word, the finale celebration. I love y'all, and I can't wait to see y'all soon. I'll just say that. But no, I was spending time with my new brother. And, he's been married for 13 years. And every time I'm around somebody who I feel has experience, I like to, ask them questions, pick their brain. And so I was like, yo, bro, it's been 13 years with your wife. You guys got all these kids. You've been doing this for a long time. I thought she was going to come back in here. You've been doing this for a long time. Like, what would you say is something that you're learning? You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I want to say who he was, because I want him to keep his privacy. But he was just like, one of the things I'm learning is like, one, you have to learn how to communicate with people in a way that they understand. And I was like, that's good. That's consistent with like something I already know and believe. Like you could say a lot of things, but the point should be that they actually get it. They comprehend it. Whether it be teaching, preaching, communicating in all aspects, like you have to talk in a way people get it. Like if they don't get it, then I don't know how effective you really are communicating. And that's hard because you have to take your time and you have to consider who you're talking to, which actually is a form of love when it comes down to it, but we're not gonna get into that. But then the second thing, he was like, yo, and then like another thing I'm learning, and this one's super hard for me, but I'm trying. Like you have to love people in a way that they receive love. And that's real. Like that's something, because I'm a lover of the love languages. I'm a lover of understanding people's love language. And then when you do know their love language, try your best to speak that language, like love them in the way that they need to be loved. And so, for example, for me, I'm a words of affirmation person. So I affirm people with words. That's how I show love. Or my presence. I'm quality time. So I'm quality time. I'm words. I'm also acts of service. And then there's some people that are gifts. All the people in my life that are gift givers or show and receive love by receiving gifts, they struggle with me because I don't necessarily give gifts, but I made it my business. I'm going to, especially this year, like get serious about making sure I give people gifts. People love gifts. It's like, that's great, Al, you're in my life. I appreciate that, but they want a gift. That's just how they show and receive love. But that's what he said. He was like, yo, loving them in a way that they receive love is very important. And I said, I agree. I think that's real. And I think, if anything, it sounds crazy, but if you're in a relationship with somebody and you feel it's mutual, it's safe, it's dope, like no gas, if y'all can learn how to communicate with each other in a way that the other one understands, that's like half the battle. But then the second piece, making sure you're loving them in a way that they receive love, not the way you think they receive love. Like I'll give one more practical example and then I'll go to the next thing. Like I had somebody that I dearly love because they're gonna watch this video and be like, oh my God, you was telling on me, so I won't say no names. For my birthday, they just wanted to do something special for me. Everybody knows me, I don't like going outside. I don't like being around a lot of people, that's not my thing. And so they had took me to this restaurant, all these people, it's loud. It's like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go because I'm grateful, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just in there, me all awkward and I'm just like, But eventually, because I'm in a place in my life where I know how to receive other forms of love. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that I would want something different, but I was able to communicate like, hey, like, I'm not really an outside person. I'd have been cool, me, like if I was my people, we got some private setup going on, I'm cool. I don't need nothing crazy, just something private, something intimate with my people. That's my thing, you know what I'm saying? And so they understood that. And they realized like what they did was something they would have wanted. They love like restaurants and like those loud environments and, got the nice setup, you know what I'm saying? So that's so real though. And see, nobody is trying to do relationships wrong. What it comes down to is when you don't know no better. Like when you don't know, when no one talks about this stuff, you just winging it. And then there's people in relationships that are unfulfilled, watch this, but with the right person. See, like they think, oh, the person's not for me because they don't necessarily love me the way I need to be loved. Well, I would ask them, like, did you ever not just communicate, but get to know yourself enough to know what to communicate? You know what I'm saying? So like that's because it's easier. Like I saw a quote, it was like, oh, when they love you and they do things without you having to ask for it, that sound good. And that probably happened in a movie. And we want that to happen in real life, but realistically, no one's gonna say it, but like you have to teach people how to love you. It's like, hey, this is what I like. This is what I need. Hey, what's up, you guys? Listen, if you want to grow deeper and kind of get in a community of people, like-minded people who are really trying to make progress, really trying to not just get momentum, but steward momentum throughout the year, listen, we have a dope team of people that put together a really cool program for me to be able to do this with you, be able to jump on calls with you, talk with you, help you with vision, help you with momentum, help them with forward progress. Listen, join my school community. It's called the Momentum Academy. I'll see you on the other side. You know what makes an employee very valuable? Not if they just don't have the degree, maybe say the credentials, maybe the work ethic, but it's always an extra perk when that person is bilingual. When that employee knows how to speak other languages, that employee has access to a whole nother set of clientele, which makes that company way more versatile. Because it's like, no, we speak English, but we have somebody that can speak your language as well. So that means that person can be serviced too. That's a whole nother thing, but it's real. We need to learn to speak each other's language. But watch this. I was just thinking like this whole, like, y'all know, I'm in a season where my time has come to an end when it comes to, dating and, what I'm saying? So I'll just say, as someone who, I've lived single, I was able to experience what Paul said, like, if you're single, like, just focus wholeheartedly unto the Lord. Give it all. And I was able to do that. Thank God. God graced me with work to do, where I was so focused on my work, where I've accomplished so much that when it was time for me to date and really get to know people, like, I didn't have this, let's say, worry of like, oh my God, I'm still trying to work, but I'm also trying to date. It was like, no, it was a clear season that this is my time to really date, like really get to know somebody and really start thinking about my future. Because what God kind of really communicated to me was it's really not good that a man be alone. That's just the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to get into that today. But on top of the conversation we were just having, something that I'm learning. And it's not just about marriage. It's not just about family. It's not just about friendships. But it's every relationship I can think of. This is something that all this weekend I was thinking about it. 2 really is better than 1. Like, when I think about the way I lead people, when I organize initiatives, when I think about teams that I try to build, communities that I build, when it comes to tasks that need to get done, it's always 2 is better than 1. 2 is better than 1. We do the chain. It's like when we do the chain method, things get done fast. The more people on deck, it gets done fast. We look up like, dang, that got done fast. All because we had people, hands, community. Like, it's this idea or this culture that everybody's painting, like, we could do life alone. It's 2 is better than 1. I want to read the scripture in 2 translations. This is really dope. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. 2 people are better off than 1, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better. A triple braided cord is not easily broken. I'm gonna read that in one other translation, and then I'm done, and then we'll go home. Even though I have a lot to say today. 2 are better than 1 because they have a more satisfying return for their labor. For if either of them falls, then one lifts up his companion. Or the one lift up, so I'll say it again. For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and does not have another to lift him up. That's huge. And again, if 2 lie down together and they keep warm, but how can one be warm alone? And through 1 can overpower him who is alone, but 2 can resist him. And a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. Watch this. I was telling Josh earlier, if you have gotten to the place in your life where you recognize, I can't do this life alone. You're open to community. You're open to companionship. That's a real place. You're open to doing life with people. But let's say we're talking about your person, like the person that God has graced to really walk with you, be in your life, be in your inner circle, or the one you choose to marry or you're married to. This is the second half of that. Once you get past the fact that two is better than one, that a three-braided cord is not easily broken. And when we think about relationships, if it's between me and you, if you can have two people that are willing to incorporate God to make that three-braided cord in your relationships, it's a whole different ballgame. If you can have two people, watch this, that are willing to live by, walk with, and stand on the principles of God, and you have God in the center of the relationship, beautiful things can happen. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it means you're going to be grounded, and God can do a miracle within the relationship. And I'll say this, because a lot of married couples always ask me, Al, what if the person I'm married to is just not good right now? Our marriage is not good right now. This is what I present to people, and this is such a thick topic, so I can't stay on it long. But I heard it said one day, and it really blessed me. If two people in a marriage come together and they both decide to live by and stand on the principles of God and apply the principles and the word of God to their marriage, God can gift them with a new marriage. God can bless them with an entirely new marriage. And then someone will say, well, my person doesn't walk with God, is completely ambivalent and completely against applying the word of God to our marriage. That's a very challenging place to be. But then that person would have to ask themselves the question, why did I marry this person? That's hard. That's a very hard reality. But the reason why I have to say that is because the fastest way to really repairing that relationship is you have to accept what it is. Because someone else is going to say, oh, just do this and pray this and do it. Two people have to be willing. You can't change nobody. You can't make nobody something that they're not. And most people, when they're trying to repair their marriage, especially if they're walking with God, if they're trying to, let's say, cram God into someone else's face, that's not going to work. But the best thing you do is, okay, let me accept what this actually is. I'm with someone who is not willing to do this. There's other options. You guys can start going to therapy together and talking about those things. Hearing that person out. Where are they? Why are they opposed to what it is you're trying to implement in the marriage? But counseling is like, when people always ask me, what's the answer is you need to get help. You guys both need to sit down with a professional. And there are options out there. Like, people don't know there's free counseling out there. You gotta find it. There's resources out there. You gotta sit down with someone who can talk to you both, so you guys can get a scope of what's going on in a relationship. What's gonna happen is someone's gonna say something the other one didn't know existed. Like, wow, I didn't even know you felt like that. And then somewhere or someone's gonna feel maybe attacked because something may get brought up that's like, oh, wow, like you're saying I'm the problem. I'm saying you're the problem. Now we're in here really being able to hear each other. But if it's in a safe place with counseling and there's some real homework assignments and some real boundaries, so that way when you guys go home, y'all not fighting about what was brought up in the session, you can start building again. If most from what I've seen, and I'm done with this topic because I didn't want to go this far. If you're in a bad marriage, to some degree, besides all the abusive, unfortunate situations that I'm not talking about right now, if the marriage is just going through one of them seasons, to some degree, someone feels misunderstood. Someone feels not heard. And someone is looking for an escape that may not be healthy, but they need to come together and sit down, but they need someone on the outside to help because they just may not be connecting by themselves appropriately. So they need someone that's going to say, here are the guidelines of this conversation. Here are the rules we're going to set for this session. This is what we're not going to do. This is where we're not going to go. But we need to get to a place where we can hear each other and really see where the disconnect is in your end and on my end. Does that make sense? That can go another way, so I can go too deep into that. Can I say one more thing and then we're done?